today I want to get into Jung Kook addressing some angry comments about Seven and what he said. I also want to get into people talking about a deleted kissing scene in the rain, which is hilarious. And then we have Jung Kook apologizing. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave. Decide, hate it or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, hey Spling McMurge, and let's go. Many ARMYs and Jungkook supporters have been camping outside the park in New York for Jungkook's Good Morning America performance. So the day this single 7 dropped, he will also be holding his first ever concert by himself. No doubt he's worked really hard practicing for it. And there's no way he hadn't heard about the amount of ARMYs camping outside for days. Like Jungkook set to perform on a Friday, people were camping out since Monday. So he was no doubt excited to make an appearance, and in a lot of the clips from the performance, we did see Jungkook make this huge effort to make sure to say hi to everyone there. Jungkook did apparently get through about 3 songs, I think. He did 7, Euphoria, and Dynamite, but then he had to stop. Of course, we don't know what the set list was supposed to be, but he apparently was supposed to do more. There was a weather report that said that the park needed to evacuate due to storms and thunder. Unsurprisingly, only like half an hour or later did all that stop. Anyway, so it seemed a bit dramatic to stop a whole production for rain and thunder. However, safety first, right? And Jungkook would probably feel terrible if someone got injured during a rainstorm at a show. So he did end up leaving and got into a car, and everyone else was told to leave the park. Jungkook did have his car drive around, and he rolled down his window and apologized. You can see him mouth the word sorry, and he was just saying it at any ARMYs that were still waiting around in the area. Of course, you could see how disappointed and sad Jungkook was, but this really wasn't no one's fault. If you think Good Morning America should not have called off the concert, then that is very poor judgment, as safety always comes first. Big productions like Good Morning America and many others would not cancel a show for no reason. They might not make any money from the ticket sales since they are free, but they make a huge buck on advertising revenue. So behind Jungkook during this performance, we see a Revlon ad. Someone from Revlon is paying for that. So they're paying to be broadcasted and looked at for the entire duration of Jungkook's concert. So if the concert is an hour, they're paying to be seen for an hour. So if the concert ends after like 20 minutes, some sort of refund or something like that has to happen. And then other things like the broadcast now has to air something else, because for TV you cannot have dead air. I believe there was some sort of pre-recorded stuff that went on air instead, and then the second reason why they have to cancel these productions is likely more union reasons. These productions are controlled by a union, and if union finds out people are working in terrible weather conditions, the union can literally come down and close production for God knows how long. So there's some possible legal issues continuing in such conditions as well. Of course, this means this is entirely not Jungkook's fault, and of course, he would prefer to do the concert. He loves performing. So it's definitely sad to see him like this. I think later he did end up appearing in Times Square. This might have been by his hotel, but this was definitely nice of him to do that, and it's more frustrating when you look at the sky and it's literally fine. However, ARMYs still have a lot to do, and all these ARMYs can now go back home and stream 7, which is very exciting. Of course, we all know the song dropped, and immediately ARMYs began talking about the 2 versions that exist. In the explicit version, Jungkook is more obviously talking about having sex, while the clean version just sounds less like sex. Of course, if you're someone who is uncomfortable with cursing, then just listen to the clean version. The clean version is also the version that they use for the music video, which is cool. Now, Latto is someone who is also on the track too, and we all knew that she would bring a sexual energy to the song. And then since we heard Jungkook was going to be cursing and all that, Latto being a feature makes a lot of sense. When artists choose a rapper for their song, they typically go by the rapper's vibe. So unlike singers, where a lot of singers really are given a set of lyrics and vibe they have to embody, and they have to embody it even if they're uncomfortable doing it, rappers don't tend to do that. You're either a sexual rapper who makes fun songs and music intended for clubs, or you're a rapper that raps more about your personal struggles with family, money, or being in the industry. And then there's people who do both, like Nicki Minaj. So since rappers write their own lyrics, usually you're not going to pick someone who maybe specializes in one to do the other. So Jungkook picked Latto for a reason. During an interview with Variety magazine, Jungkook was asked about his feelings about having Latto on the track, which I thought was a weird question to ask, but we'll talk about it in a bit. The question was phrased in a weird way, and they asked Jungkook, since the song was already a bit sexual, was he comfortable with Latto taking it further and making it more overtly sexual? And the phrase overtly sexual comes from them. Jungkook basically said that he chose her because he liked her unique charm and felt it actually made the song better. This is a great response. Jungkook in the previous questions talked about wanting a feature on the song, and then when a producer said Latto's name, Jungkook thought it would be great to include her. And so the reason why me and other people on Twitter thought this was a weird question to ask was because, of course, Jungkook is going to stand by the feature he chose. If he really didn't like her verse, he could have told Latto to change it or tone it down before it was published everywhere, or simply just take the song and just never release it, which happens all the time. So if he released it, he liked it. Now, on the flip side, why would Variety magazine ask such a question? Because they don't typically ask such questions with other artists. Well, in K-pop, things tend to be more family friendly, right? So for each genre, a magazine company will usually have a specific person they will pick to do the interview. This is typically the person who knows the most about that specific genre. So naturally, if they did pick someone who was into K-pop, the question of the song being overtly sexual would come up, because typically they're not. So I don't blame them for asking. Also, it's probably a question a good chunk of the fandom was wondering anyway. And Jungkook definitely got backlash for it being a more sexual song. So I think this was also his reply to be like, I stand by it. The song is overall so good and so fun to listen to. Again, if you're uncomfortable with cursing and sexual lyrics, this is obviously not going to be your vibe, and that's okay. But if you do want to join me and the community in reacting to the clean version with the music video, we do that over on Patreon. We like to fangirl, laugh, and just tell our thoughts unjudged over there. We do have a $1 tier with limited spots, so if you want to join that, we're excited to have you. I'll link that in the description below. The music video is so well done, and it looks like it was filmed in New York, but I'm not entirely sure. But we won't get too into the entire music video here. But I want to get into that ending scene. But let me give some context to what I am referencing here. Bear with me. Jungkook watched a Korean drama called Love 911 a while ago. I think the drama was intended for international release, as 911 doesn't mean anything in Korea. Their police line, I believe, is 112. But anywho, there was a scene in that drama that Jungkook fell in love with. The scene was an ending scene where the two lovers were at an intersection and the male lead lifts up the woman and they kiss. Jungkook has even playfully recreated the scene with Suga, and it's very cute, and the fandom remembers Jungkook saying this. So when he had the ending scene in the 7 music video, Jungkook and Hang So-hee meet in the street in the rain. I think there were definitely some people that were saying that this was a lost opportunity for Jungkook to lift Hang So-hee up and twirl her around in the rain and kiss her. Of course, while a cute idea, this would definitely cause backlash to Hang So-hee. In fact, I probably imagine Hang So-hee is receiving some hate comments over the music video, because some delusional people believe the story in the music video is real. I've spoken to people on Twitter who say, I saw them be lovers, so I know it's true, and now I'm disappointed in Jungkook. People actually think like that. But there were also some people that were thinking maybe the scene did exist and it was cut out for the obvious reasons I just mentioned. But now we will never know. But I hope you will enjoy the song and video, and please do stream it as well. Just to make sure you're streaming properly, let me remind you on some tips. Make sure you watch the music video all the way to the end, click on another video, watch that video to the end, and then go back to the music video. If you simply hit refresh, it will not count as a view. So you can make a playlist and just add a video in between the music video. You can do this video, whichever video you want, and make sure you stream on Spotify too. That's important. I will link the music video down below in the description, so you can click right to it now. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks, just leave a comment right here. Love you, bye.